Hey, are you guys ready to elevate your DIY skills? Well, of course you are. That's why you're here. I'm so excited to announce the HouseCalls Premium Ad-Free Membership. What is that? Well, you get a bunch of great stuff. You get exclusive member-only content. You can join me for live streams. We've got exclusive contests, sweepstakes, of course, easy-to-follow videos as well. Now, we've got a free 7-day trial. Just go to members.housecallsdiy.com.
We make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something. Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. Today we'll install wainscoting in a dining room. This centuries-old wall accent adds a new dimension to any room and also helps guard against scuffs and scratches. What's more, this version is strikingly easy to put up. Then I'll show you how to put down a roll-out vinyl floor that will transform the look of your garage, basement, or workshop. It's easy and installs quickly. Finally, I'll demonstrate how to restore a rotted wood shutter by first solidifying damaged wood, then replacing the missing material using polyester resin. Well, I'm off to the Sunshine State, going to St. Petersburg, Florida, and visit Corinne and Jim Allman. Hi, Corinne.
Yes.
I'm Ron. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm great.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Ron. I'm Jim. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. I hear there's a lot of stuff going on inside this house right here.
A lot.
Corinne and Jim give me a rundown on all they've accomplished. Then Jim gives me a quick tour before we get started. Wow, what a view. Look at this. You're sitting right on the water. Now I feel like I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida.
Yeah. It's obvious the Allmans have finished almost all their home improvement projects, except the dining room walls. They've decided to try wainscoting, which we'll make from individual strips of paneling. It'll go right up on the wall, like this. The bottom is going to be covered up with the baseboard, and the top with a chair rail. Step one is to decide just how high we want the chair rail. This is the actual wainscoting cap or chair rail that we're going to use right here. Now originally these were designed to go right where the chair would hit the wall. So let's just put this about there. Corinne, can you hold this over here?
Sure.
I also think that visually looks like a good height to me. Let's see what we got here. To the bottom of the chair rail, just about 34 inches. Okay. So I would think this would work in here.
I think it looks great.
Jim measures up 34 inches from the floor and makes marks on both ends of the wall. Then we snap a chalk line to indicate the top edge of our paneling. Okay, got it on both ends? And pull it out here. There we go. After that, young David Allman takes over, snapping lines on the rest of the walls. Wow, well, that's a snap. Look at that. Corinne uses an electronic stud finder to locate and mark the wall studs. This will be important information when it comes time to nail up the chair rail. Well, here's our paneling. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick, about 3.5 inches wide, and it's tongue and groove. The tongue on one plank slips into the groove on the next. Now we've made a pattern for this project because we're going to be making repetitive cuts. All the boards on this wall over here are going to be the same length. So all we have to do is take our pattern, lay it on top of a longer piece of wood, and draw a line right here. Now what's important is to always use this same pattern. I know sometimes it's tempting to take the board that we've just cut and use it as a pattern, but if we do that several times, we're introducing sometimes a series of small errors, and the pattern can actually change in size. So make one pattern, use that all the way through the project. Since we have to cut over 100 boards, we set up a little assembly line.
It's been fun. It's been different. We've never tried the whole home remodeling until now, and there is a feeling of satisfaction.
With the paneling cut to length, we can now begin to attach it to the wall. The trick here is to place the nails where they won't be seen, at the very top of the boards and at the very bottom. Later, the nail heads will be covered by the baseboard and chair rail.
There we go. Okay, now, just give it the trigger.
Now here's a place the pneumatic nail gun really shines. It makes the job easy, and the thin gauge nails quickly pin the paneling in place without splitting the ends. Several of our walls have electrical outlets. After turning off the power and pulling out the receptacle, we mark the position of the box, draw the outline with a combination square, and then Jim cuts the first opening with a jigsaw. Corinne takes over and cuts the second piece of paneling.
Excellent.
Finally, we cut small notches to provide clearance for the receptacle mounting screws, slip the paneling into position, and secure it with nails. Our next obstacle is the corner. The final board on the wall needs to be cut to a different width, and there's an easy technique for this. First, I tape a piece of paneling right on top of the board closest to the wall. I put a second board on top, push it into the corner, and trace the edge onto the board underneath. Jim then cuts along this line, and we end up with a panel exactly the width we need.
Well, our paneling's up. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Now next we'll be putting up our baseboard. Now here we're going to be cutting some angles to get around a few tricky situations.
Using the power miter saw, we'll make a bevel cut on the end of the baseboard. When this cut is placed next to the door casing, it gives a clean, finished look. To give the baseboard a smooth, continuous appearance as it wraps around corners, we'll cut 45-degree miters on adjacent ends. Placed together, they'll form 90-degree angles.
You know, Jim, bring in the timber.
We have one wall that is longer than any single piece of baseboard, so we'll have to join two pieces together to get the length that we need. By cutting opposing 45-degree angles on the ends of two baseboards and overlapping them, the joint, called a scarf joint, becomes almost invisible. Adding a piece of quarter-round molding where the baseboard meets the floor creates a nice detail.
Well, Jim and Corinne did a great job on the baseboard. Now we're down to the last piece of this wainscoting system. This is the chair rail. It has a rabbet cut right here in the edge, which will do two things: conceal the top of these paneling boards, and also trap these in place, holding them securely to the wall, because this is going to be nailed directly into the wall studs.
We cut the chair rail using the same techniques we used on the baseboard. Remember how Corinne used the electronic stud finder to locate the studs? This is where those marks come in handy, since we want to nail the chair rail directly into the wall studs.
That turned out really nice.
I think so.
Wow, what a difference.
I love it.
Remember what that room looked like this morning?
Yes.
And look what we were able to do in just one day's time.
Right.
Thanks for having me over.
Well, thanks for coming.
All the best to you both, and
Thank you.
good luck with the rest of the projects here in the house.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Well, it's time to turn my attention to my workshop floor down here. Now, I want to put a covering down that resists spills, is easy to maintain, is comfortable to walk and stand on, and quite frankly, looks cool. And you know what? I think I've come up with the perfect material.
I found it online during a search for garage floor coverings. Well, it seemed like it would give me what I was looking for. So I went over to my local home improvement center and picked up a couple of rolls.
This is a roll-out vinyl floor covering called G-Floor from Better Life Technology. Now, what I really like about this is it doesn't have to be glued down. It simply rolls out and lies there. Now, it can go on top of a subfloor like this or directly on top of concrete. And the installation, well, it's pretty simple.
I cut the flooring oversize and run it up the wall a few inches. Then drop a piece of plywood behind and cut off most of the excess material. The plywood keeps my blade from dulling so quickly. Because it's cold today, I'm warming the vinyl with a heat gun to make it more pliable. Then, with a wide putty knife, I push the floor covering into the corner and cut it to fit, using the putty knife as a straight edge. To fit the corners, I first make a vertical slice, then use the putty knife to press the flooring into place and complete the cut. With the first roll down, I roll out the second.
Now the edges of each roll can either be overlapped or butted edge to edge. I'm going to butt them because I want as smooth a surface as possible. So step one, I'll take a carpenter's pencil, drop it right in here in the seam, and draw a line.
The pencil will mark the exact center of the seam. Next, I roll back one edge and hold it in place with a piece of duct tape every few feet. Then repeat the process on the other side. Now, I roll out a vinyl seaming strip the full length of the floor, using the center line I drew earlier as a guide. I'll be using this liner adhesive to glue the strip to the underside of the flooring. Now, this will go faster if I use a brush rather than the applicator in the can. First, I'll apply the material to the strip, and then to the edges of the sheets. After waiting a few minutes for the adhesive to set, it's time to unroll the edges and press them into contact with the seaming strip. Now, even though I've thoroughly attached the edges to each other, I have not glued the vinyl sheets to the flooring below. In effect, it remains a floating floor. The process is the same for the third and final strip of flooring. Now, sure, this floor is practical, but the seamless look, the rugged diamond plate pattern, and the gunmetal gray color coordinate handsomely with my cabinets and pegboard. There's a powerful yet subtle tension between textures, an engaging interplay between the metallic and vinyl influences. Okay, maybe I'm going a bit far, but there's nothing wrong with having a shop that's as good looking as it is functional.
You know, sometimes it may just seem easier to replace something that's a little tattered and worn. But me, well, I guess I'm just a restorer at heart. I feel really good about giving new life to something that's been around for a while. Well, I got a bit of a problem here. Got some pretty serious rot, so I'm going to go ahead and repair these. This one is a pretty deep. The damage goes fairly deeply in here, and some of this wood in here is still on the soft side. I've taken out most of the crumbly stuff, but I don't think I want to tear too much more of that out of there. So I'm going to do what's called consolidate the wood that's left right here, and all that means is I'm going to put some of this sort of liquid. It's not really an epoxy, but you can sort of think of it like that. It's water thin, and it soaks into the wood, and it turns the soft, partially decayed wood here hard again.
The consolidant will dry in about 2 hours. Now I'll begin using small pieces of material to build a form around the damaged area.
This is just hardboard here. I'm going to spray some lubricant on the back. That's just going to allow the filler to release from this. And I'm going to lay this right here on the back and then take some duct tape. What I'm trying to do here is to cover a couple of the sides on this void so that the filler, when I put it in, won't just ooze out.
The filler I've chosen for this job, a polyester resin, dries quickly and is very durable, especially outside.
It's really a wonderful material for doing home repairs. Relatively inexpensive. I like it because it not only is easy to use, dries very fast. Now this is the hardener. The more of this I put in, the faster this is going to get hard. I'll just mix that right up. And I'm just going to start packing this in. Now there's a hole back up in here, so I want to push that back up in the hole until that's well filled. So it's actually starting to harden already. You see how it's kind of, it's hard to tell right now, but just another couple of minutes, I can feel it. It's kind of like dried chewing gum. See, it's getting a little bit rubbery. Now this has been about 10 minutes. You see, it's hard, but it's still a little bit rubbery. This is exactly where I want it to be here, because when it's in this stage, I can clean off the excess real easily. There, see that popped off? See, it left us with a nice fill right in here. There won't be much cleanup to do on that. And then we'll pop this one off too. Let me give this a cut. Take off our tape. It's just going to come out, and then I'll just, there's just a knife. You see how rubbery this is right now? I can cut this. I can cut away all the excess. Started here. Come on. There we go. See? See how nicely that's filled in? I'm getting this just the right time while it's still rubbery. This stuff gets really hard. I want to cut out some of this excess here. Just make a cut here. I'm going to get in here and just follow this profile. So I have a little more sanding to do on the top and the back, but not much. And this is ready for priming and painting. Now this one, I'm going to repair a little bit differently. I've got really, I could fill this up, but I think because of the way this is all broken out here, I'm going to be better off just replacing that with a piece of wood. Okay, I'll lay that right on there. What I'm actually doing here is I'm cutting the patch first, and then I'm going to trace the outline of the patch onto the shutter, and I'm going to actually cut this out. My chisels could be a little sharper. I'll have to take a day off and just do chisel sharpening here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this in now. This is polyurethane glue. Great stuff for outdoor use. Since I have this wonderful tool, I'm going to use it. This is a one-handed or single-handed face frame clamp. Now it applies pressure right down here. It kind of pinches, and then at the same time it drives this screw down, pushing that wedge into the opening. Well, that patch turned out very nicely. You can see here I sanded it off flush with the surface of the shutter. Now all I've got to do is apply some paint. It's going to blend right in. Well, there's that patch we made with the polyester resin. It's all been sanded smooth. Now watch, it's just going to disappear as I lay the paint on here. Just about good as new. Or as I like to say, good as old. Oh sure, I could have bought a new shutter, but you know there's something that gives me a lot of satisfaction about restoring something old. Maybe it's character or patina, whatever you want to call it. And in this case, you'd never know there'd been a problem up there.
To view today's projects again and countless more, go to HouseCallsDIY.com. Step-by-step home improvement tips when you need them.
I'm Brian Kelsey. Welcome to House Calls.
Join us as we tackle some great home projects, as well as look back at favorites from Ron Hazelton on House Calls.